I call the June 18th, 2024 regular board meeting of Glencoe Park District to order. Lisa, please call the roll and state the time.
7 o'clock. Commissioner Boren? She's absent. Commissioner Covey's absent. Commissioner Schneider?
Here.
Commissioner Spector?
Here.
President Spain?
Here. Okay. Consent agenda items A through C are routine. Does any commissioner want any item pulled from the consent agenda items? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
So moved. Second.
A roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schneider?
Yes.
Commissioner Spector?
Yes.
President Spain?
Yes. Okay, you guys are going to be busy tonight.
They are.
Motions. All right. And then do we have anybody from the public to address at this time or just for later in the
We have,
presentation?
yeah, there's Jackie's here, so.
Yes.
And then Brian's a staff member and
Okay.
then our auditor. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just wanted to confirm. All right. We are going to move up on the agenda to action item number E, which relates to that question before, which is the approval of resolution number 963. Jackie Cole, is it Kolzeka? Okay, thank you. Kolzeka's 21 years. Okay, so I entertain a motion to move up the agenda. Sorry, I read this twice. I entertain a motion to move up the agenda action item E, approval of resolution number 963, Jackie Kolzeka's 21 years of service resolution.
So moved. Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes.
Mm.
Okay. All right, I'm going to read the resolution now. All right. Whereas Jackie Kolzeka was employed by the Glencoe Park District as a preschool teacher beginning on August 26, 2002. Whereas Jackie was employed by the Glencoe Park District as a preschool teacher at the Early Learning Center for 21 years, demonstrating unparalleled dedication and passion in her role. Whereas during her tenure, Jackie touched the lives of over 500 students with her warm demeanor and expert guidance, leaving an indelible mark on each child she has taught. Whereas Jackie seamlessly integrated with South School, ensuring her students were fully prepared for the transition to kindergarten, showcasing her commitment to their educational journey. Whereas she was a steadfast presence during the construction of the Take Center and played an active role in enhancing the early childhood playground, extending her contributions beyond the classroom. Whereas Jackie was an integral part of the Employee Appreciation Committee, highlighting her supportive nature not only toward her students, but also her colleagues. Whereas her advocacy for children resonates throughout the Glencoe community, fostering a nurturing environment for the next generation and creating a legacy that transcends generations as she continues to teach the children of former students. Whereas Jackie's community involvement extends beyond the classroom as she actively develops strong relationships with families throughout Glencoe, offering unwavering support to families as their children embark on their educational journey, ensuring a smooth transition into the school environment. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Glencoe Park District Board of Park Commissioners, representing all the residents of the Park District, recognize the meritorious service of Jackie Kolzeka and record it in the permanent records of the Glencoe Park District for all to see. This resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its passage. Does anybody have any comments they'd like to make?
Bobby?
Sure, I'd be honored. Jackie, not only was I extremely lucky to work with you, but both my boys got to really enjoy your wonderfully kind, generous nature for both preschool and for camp. This community was exceptionally lucky to have you for the last 21 years, and we were really going to miss you. We just hope that you really enjoy that well-earned retirement, and we hope to see you around the Take Center and our parks in the future. Congratulations.
How do you follow Bobby? I totally agree. We're really going to miss you, and it's been a joy watching you bring such joy to the children in my 11 years here. You're one of the best examples of teachers at our school, and you've, I guess, taught so many other young people to become great teachers and counselors. And that's a legacy that will live on long after you're gone. So thank you so much. Do you want to ever come up and take a picture too?
All right, should we pass the motion first?
Oh, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
All right, not that I'm in doubt, but I entertain a motion to approve resolution number 963 for Jackie Kolzaka's 21 years of service as presented.
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Absolutely, yes. All right.
So you know, the other commissioners that had to be away for work also made sure they were a yay for this vote. So just saying, you know.
Well,
Do
congratulations. Thank you so much for your service.
you want to go up and take a picture with
Sure.
all the board members?
Yeah.
You do, Jordan. Do you want to go this way?
Yes. Oh, you did. Oh, that's great.
We make you, Jackie, we make you go up here and now she's a little afraid. Get a little closer. Yay! Is there anything you want to say? Because we have a little hot mic here if you want to. Just turn on, let me turn it on. There you go. Just push a little button. There you go.
Thank you all so much. I am deeply honored for this, and I'm very touched. It's just an honor to teach. I love children. I love recruiting people. Even I met my cousin's daughter, like I just said, from Italy, and trying to get her back into, oh, come to this town of Glencoe.
I love it.
So I am just, it's a joy. And even my own children worked at the Glencoe Park District, and now our careers working with children. So I'm just honored thank you so much for recognizing me. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Les. Okay, but thank you very much. Hope you had a good time.
I did.
All right, next on the agenda, John will introduce Jamie Wilkie, partner of Lauterbach and Amen, who will give the audit presentation and answer board questions.
All right, thank you, President Spain. Good evening, everyone. As President Spain mentioned, Jamie Wilkie is here to present the results from our fiscal 23-24 audit. She's a partner with Lauterbach and Amen. And I will turn things over to Jamie, who will discuss the deliverables that were provided as part of our fiscal 23-24 audit process.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. As John indicated, we have for presentation this evening the final draft version of the annual comprehensive financial report. I certainly wanted to start the meeting by thanking the Park District team, in particular the finance department. I know John and Brian are both here in attendance tonight. To say they do an outstanding job preparing for the audit is quite frankly an understatement. I think they both came from my side of the desk, so it's a little bit easier because they kind of know, what typically happens during an audit. But I certainly want to say out loud, it's pretty rare to come into an audit engagement for our park districts and have the books truly fully adjusted and all of the supporting documentation provided. So thank you very much to both of you. I do want to also point out that the Park District earned the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for last year's audit document. That is another independent review of the annual audit each year. It is conducted by the Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA. You'll see a copy of that award provided in the introductory section of the annual audit. And we will again be submitting this year's document to the program, obviously anticipating receipt of that prestigious award. I do want to point out the audit opinion itself. So current state statute does require that any local government undertake an independent audit within 6 months of the close of the fiscal year. The goal of that annual audit is really to ensure that the financial statements as presented are materially correct. So we opine on that level of assurance, and we have issued what we call an unmodified or clean audit opinion. That is the highest level opinion that the Park District can earn each year, and again indicates that the financial statements as presented are in fact materially correct. You'll see some discussion in the audit opinion as well around internal controls. So while we are not opining specifically on the Park District internal controls, we are required each year as part of the audit engagement to take a look at the overall control environment. So things like policies, procedures, workflow, third-party confirmations, what type of support the staff has for certain balances in the financial statements. Certainly, if there were any areas of concern or red flags during that detailed testing, we would have to have those discussions tonight with the board, and we're happy to report there were no such findings. So in my opinion, the cleanest opinion without any findings to go along with it. I do want to point out just one key section as you have time in the document. Management discussion and analysis is on pages 16 through 23 of the annual audit. This really does serve as the executive summary. You have well over 100 pages in this document. That is a lot to digest, especially if this is not what you do on a daily basis of interpreting governmental financial statements. So really those handful of pages do serve as that executive summary. I always like to point it out to our boards. High-level overview of the results, comparables to the prior year, and management discussion on any major trends or transactions throughout the fiscal year as well. As part of the annual audit, we also have to issue 2 other client communication letters. The first is what we call a SAS 114 letter. The SAS 114 letter covers a variety of topics. Typically, I say you want the form letter or the standard letter because that indicates that there were really no exceptions during the audit. So things like journal entries that we propose that management disagrees with, or actual disagreements with management on maybe accounting principles or application of certain principles. And so I'm happy to report you have been issued what I would call the standard clean letter for the SAS 114. The second letter that we issue is our communication tool that we call the management letter. The management letter is our opportunity each year to communicate things like upcoming standards that are going to be changing, whether there were any housekeeping type items, best practices, those types of things. We did have just a couple of new standards that will be coming down the line. So the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, or GASB, has been very active as of recent times. So we have 2 pronouncements that are outlined within the management letter. We'll be working with the staff internally to make sure those are properly implemented. Pretty simple standards, in my opinion. One relates to any potential accounting changes or things like prior period adjustments. We don't obviously anticipate those for the Park District, but we wanted to certainly point out that that is an applicable change or new standard. The second one relates to compensated absences. Compensated absences would represent things like vacation time earned as of your fiscal year end, but not yet paid out to employees. So this is kind of a clarification, GASB, changes a little bit how we're going to calculate that liability that we already report in the book. So this isn't a new calculation or a new liability that we're reporting, but simply adjusting the methodology that's currently in place. So I'm happy to answer any questions this evening, but certainly wanted to close with the clean audit opinion, outstanding job preparing for the audit, and really no findings to have to discuss this evening.
Thank you and great job, everyone who participated in the process. That's great to hear about our staff, and I'm not surprised whatsoever.
I do like to give John a hard time, but they and Brian, but they do a fantastic job in the preparing and for the audit. Whoever gets assigned to us, I'm sure is thrilled because they come in.
They are, yes. You guys tend to be on the list of staff kind of fights over the clean audit, so you're always on that list.
So I'd like to thank them. It's a fantastic job. Now, John did offer that she could stay here for like 3 hours and answer all the detailed questions.
They
And
do have board meetings like
So-
that, I will tell you, so.
I actually have a question
Sure.
for you. Out of curiosity, this seems pretty quick to get the audit turned around.
Mhm.
'Cause there seems to be, I might have raised this last year, like, a shortage of auditors, and a lot of late audits are a real problem lately.
A huge problem. It's actually gotten worse since last year.
Yes. So, because I used to work for a rating agency, so that was an issue. So, how did we get ours done so quickly?
I think a lot of it is the coordination as a team as a whole. So number one, we go through a formal planning meeting. Think John and Brian can attest, they have a very specific list of items that they know we're going to be coming in and looking for. My experience, because we work with hundreds of units of government here in Illinois, and believe me, I'm living the delays, every day. What we're seeing in reality at most places is maybe either vacancies in the finance or an accounting team, new faces who don't have the same level of experience or expertise as folks who may have previously held those positions. And we've been having to pick up and set down audits a lot more frequently because folks say they're ready, but they're really not ready, if that makes sense. So that has not been the case here. And I think that even goes prior to John's tenure in that position. I think there's always been a pretty good process and procedure here at the Park District of making sure that planning happens. We have good communication. These guys know what we're looking for. It's provided by the date that we've agreed to. So we don't have that pickup, set down, and kind of back and forth that we're seeing at a lot of government entities right now.
Okay, so it sounds like it's not just about a shortage of auditors, it's also about the preparation and management of.
I
local-
would absolutely, I think what we're experiencing as an industry is issues on both sides of the equation.
Thank you.
So I have a question with,
Sure.
I assume you do a variety of size, park districts.
do.
and, Where do you tend to find where there's exceptions or delays or adjustments that take place? Is that sort of across the board, or do you find that more in larger, maybe more complex park districts, or smaller, or?
It
No
depends.
rhyme or reason.
It depends. Obviously, the larger districts are maybe going to have some more complex projects, maybe some things that take a little bit longer to have kind of the year-end closeout actually happen. I think a lot of it comes back to the staffing structure internally and the talent of some of those folks, of how clean the audit, truly is when the auditors walk in. Government's a little bit unique in the for-profit sector. I would walk in and John would hand me a set of financials that he's already drafted. And in theory, you're not ever anticipating a journal entry. Governments have budgets with constraints that would not allow for a finance or accounting team to have that level of staffing, right? So you kind of get to expect that you're going to come into certain governments and have to assist with some of the year-end journal entries, maybe help get some people up to speed a little bit with how things have been done if they're new to the organization. And I've been in many cases in this last cycle where we might have the most institutional knowledge of anybody on staff. And that's the reality right now. So just depends.
Yeah, and are most of the entities you audit, are they villages or like cities or
All types of government.
all
We-
kinds of government?
Yeah, we have probably close to 60 park districts we audit on an annual basis, probably about 100 municipalities, and then libraries and fire districts and all the other special units of government.
All right, thanks very much.
Yes, thank you.
We had to ask you a few questions. Since you
Oh,
made it
that's
all the way.
okay. I know. I know. The rating agencies are struggling right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
just getting
pretty
timely
interesting.
info. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
having me.
All right, I'm going to turn us over next to Lisa, who will be conducting the election for the elections. So it's a little strange here without all the members present.
I know, but we need to get this done.
Yeah, here we go.
It's my pleasure to open nominations for president of the board. Are there any nominations for president? It's you two.
Would you like to nominate?
Yeah, sure. I would like to nominate Carol Spain for president.
Second.
All right. Any other nominations? Okay, hearing no further nominations present, that is closed. I need a roll call voting approving Carol Spain as president of the park board.
How are you going
Oh, I need a motion.
to?
So who makes the motion?
Either of you two.
Okay, so moved.
I'm the newbie. You make the
All
motion.
right.
So okay.
You're seconding?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
You can vote
Aye.
yourself. Yeah, there you go. Because we need 3 votes, so you have to.
Okay.
Okay, as board secretary, it's my pleasure to open nominations for vice president of the board. Are there any nominations for vice president?
I nominate Stephanie Boren.
So moved.
Second.
There we go. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Okay. Sorry, I'm taking notes. All right. Congratulations, President and Vice President of the Board of Commissioners. And now I turn it back over to Carol.
Okay. I move to appoint Michael Covey as treasurer, Robert Bush of Ansel Glink as attorney and ethics officer, Lisa M. Shepherd as secretary to the board and executive director, Carol Spain, as in myself, is that okay? As representative to the Glencoe Plan Commission, Lisa M. Shepherd and Erica Daragazi as Freedom of Information Act officers.
Can I just make one clarification? Can we just, instead of Rob Bush, because he's retiring within the year, just do Ansel Glink as our attorneys?
Okay,
Confirm.
so corrected. Moving to appoint Ansel Glink as attorney and ethics officer. Can I have entertain a motion or a second, I guess.
Second.
Okay, second.
Sorry, I moved. A roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes. Okay. Furthermore, I move to appoint the following committee appointments. So for Finance Committee of a whole, I motion to approve Michael Covey as chair, with the members being the remaining board members. For Special Projects and Facilities Committee of a whole, motion to approve Bart Schneider as chair, with the members being the remaining board members. Personnel and Policy Committee of the whole, recommend as co-chairs, Carol Spain and Jordan Spector, with the members being the remaining board members. Furthermore, I would like to, is this a motion or I'm just appointing?
You're just pointing.
Okay, I'm appointing for the chair appointments for the following committees: Glencoe Beach and Lakefront Advisory Committee, Bart Schneider; Watts Advisory Group, Jordan Spector; Early Childhood Advisory Group, Stephanie Boron; NSSRA Liaison, Lisa Shepherd, Executive Director. All right, congratulations, everyone, on your appointments, and thank you for your service. Okay, next, we're moving on to the financial report, where John will share a synopsis of the report and answer any questions.
All right, thank you. So just focusing on the monthly financial analysis for this month. As we look at rec program revenues, a little over 500,000 or 16% ahead of where we were in the prior year, and really looking at the camps, Game On, Girls Action Quest, Camp Adventure leading the way along with Kids Club on our very strong recreation program revenues again this year. Children's Circle is pretty consistent now with prior year, $126,000 excess compared to 134 in the prior year. Fitness right at about break even. Beach, we had talked a bit about pass sales last month. So as we ended May, we were about 7% behind the prior year for beach pass sales. Looking into June, I think we've gotten off to a pretty good start there compared just on a revenue basis for our family resident passes. We were more than halfway to where we were last year at this time, and that was about June 11th is the last time that we kind of ran that interface with our general ledger. Obviously, we had some weather in our favor that likely helped out the beach pass sales over the past week too, so we'll be sure to update that number come the July board meeting. Boat storage is up around $9,000. So if you really look at the beach and boating total, it's really almost identical to the prior year, 167,000 versus 166,000. Not really much to speak to in the other remaining departments, so I wasn't going to mention anything specifically there. G&A is pretty well on track. Parks Department expenditures slightly up based on planned hiring and having fully staffed positions at this point. Rec and corporate admin being led by obviously property taxes. Our first installment is pretty much entirely collected at this point. So we'll be looking to get our second installment, hopefully a lot sooner than we have in the past couple of years. Hopefully that'll start trickling in the September timeframe. That covers it for the financial report. Be happy to address any questions.
I'm sorry, where did you say we were at this year compared to last year for beach passes?
I'm sorry, for beach passes?
Yeah.
So I can probably answer that, John. So I just pulled the latest. We're just over 207,000. We're about 55,000 away from budget. So we had an exceptionally strong week. The minute the weather turned into the 90s, we sold about $25,000 worth of passes. So we're probably at this point looking to be slightly ahead of last year. So it's gone up a significant amount. So we're looking very strong. Dailies was very strong this week too. So we're cautiously optimistic that if this weather continues, we're gonna continue to see pass sales.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Unless there's further questions, we're going to move on to the executive director's report. Lisa?
Great. Obviously, summer's off to a nice start. Nice warm weather. Really, really good for the beach. A little hot for camp. We'll probably be able to talk about that in a second. First, I want to bring you up to date on the Independence Day celebration. On July 3rd is when we have our fireworks and celebration in the park. So pretty similar to last year as far as setup, working with the village, security measures and training. So we have the food trucks and music, fireworks at 9. And the swimming beach is closed July 3rd for the setup of the fireworks. The boating beach will be open till about 6 p.m. For our boaters, they go down alternate entrance. On July 4th, we have our 2-mile fun run that will start at the Glencoe train station at 8 o'clock. Family fun games at Cock Park at 9:30. We just added, thank you to the team, a bags tournament for teams of 2 of any age from 10:30 to noon. So that's free, but you have to pre-register, correct?
Correct.
Yep. Village Parade,
I'm sorry, is it
bags,
tournament?
bags.
10:30 to noon
Yep,
in that Culk Park,
yep. Same place as the family games.
so same places.
Yep.
That's such a great idea.
That was
Thank you.
Lisa's idea, so.
I'm like, we need something for families. So hopefully people take advantage of it. It'd be fun.
Spread the word. We need people
Yeah.
to sign up, so.
Yeah, we need people to sign up.
Awesome.
So I'm sure they'll do a big push on that one.
Haven't started.
Maybe someone could dress up playing bags. I don't know, that always seems to draw people in, you
Right.
know, panda playing bags or something.
Yeah. I got a
Against, you
costume.
know.
Might be a little hot.
Village Parade is at 1. We will be participating this year, as the board indicated last month. They would really like to see us participate, so we will have a truck and a float, and then invite campers with their families to walk in the parade. As we talked about, we're a little worried about making camp staff go, so we don't know if we have enough staff to take the kids and walk them like we traditionally have. So this would be a family and kid walk, but they would walk together as a family behind the float. So they would sign a waiver just as, you know, as in the past, and then we would let them know where to meet us and things like that. So we are providing that opportunity for our families. And then from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., if you're a beach pass holder, you can get down to the beach that day. So I would like to commend staff, all staff, on onboarding. John, Brian, his team, getting all the seasonal staff onboarded in an efficient manner, and the training that went into all the seasonal staff. It was truly a team effort. Everyone around the table had a hand in the training to make sure that we provide a very comprehensive experience for our young adults. We are very proud of being the largest employer of young adults, and this is a lot of times their first job, and we want to make sure they have a great experience. The team has been even more efficient in doing some of our training online beforehand, and then to maximize our time when we have them here, doing training in both ways, which has been very well received, I believe. So kudos to the team. I'm going to throw it over to Bobby to talk about the start of summer beach and camp season.
Sure. So we're in our second week for camp. We had a spectacular weather week last week, and this week has started off quite warm. So obviously that's front of mind for staff. So we're taking a lot of precautions with our campers. A lot of them, you know, can get overheated if they running around too much. So we're watching that. We're taking water breaks, sunscreen breaks, just breaks from the heat. Our staff is watching for dehydration or exhaustion, and we're making sure that we're educating our kiddos to also, if they're not feeling good, let us know. So that's something we're actively watching. We're also shortening some of our beach visits for some of our preschools. So Beluga's had a slightly shorter visit yesterday, and our other camps, just making sure that they don't have a huge amount of shade down there. So we're just being cautious in the weather. We think it's going to be through Sunday. We do have a really cool splash event at the beach this weekend on Saturday from noon to 3. So for pass holders, it's an appreciation for them supporting the Park District and the beach. And we're also hoping it drives some pass sales. So we'll have some slip and slides, some snacks, some music. There's an inflatable. We're expecting
Foam.
foam. There's going to be some foam
Foam?
too. I think the idea came from the board last year. The idea, I think, from Commissioner Boron. So we're very excited to get people down to the beach. Looks like it's going to be spectacular weather and a good day for it. You'll also have seen in the board report that camp enrollment is exceptionally strong across almost all of our camps. So that speaks to the quality of our program. And so far, the staff has done a phenomenal job, and the feedback has been exceptionally positive. The comments overwhelmingly has been the organization of our camp. So we're very proud of that. That's over and over the comment we get how organized we are. So we're feeling good about that. Our sailing and aquatics camp started too. They're having a great day, a great week so far. There's again watching the weather, and that camp we're excited to have it down at the beach all summer. You also may have seen that we had Glencoe 500 this weekend. We had 60 kiddos with cars, with electric mini cars. We also provided additional ones for kiddos who didn't have it. It was a really fun event. It had the kind of NASCAR feel to it in the front parking lot. There was some races, but also some exhibition races. and there's a lot of smiles. We also did a little bit of a touch a truck event in the middle where kiddos could get on some of the tractors and vehicles we had, but a really fun weekend.
That was that was one of Nate's new ideas last year, and it's just growing, and I can't wait to see what it continues to grow. So it's going to be one of our, I guess, most popular programs that people look forward to. So, Kyle, do you want to go over a little bit about what the Parks Department's been doing and the
Sure.
train cars at Duke?
Yep. So with beach opening behind us and camp started, we've been able to kind of return our focus to kind of that detail work around our parks with the planting beds and keeping up with the weeds. The rain has subsided a little bit, so it's given a little bit of relief for the mowing crew. But turning our focus to some specialty projects. We were alerted Friday evening about the Duke Park train track having an issue. I'm not sure if anybody caught wind of that, but we did discover a broken section of train track on Saturday morning. So we had to take the train out of service for the weekend for safety reasons. We were able to make welding repairs to the train tracks to put it back into service. We are going to order a new switch to install and replacement, but the weld should hold for the train to be open for use here for as long as needed. So. Aside from that, the Watts ball field renovations are scheduled to begin later this week. It should be about a week's worth of work. And just as a reminder, that's regrading and adding of ball field clay, resodding the infield, and cutting in new baselines, batters boxes, and pitchers mounds.
Great. Aaron's been really busy in signage and communication pieces, both for programs, special events, informational referendum material. So does anybody have any questions for Aaron?
Mm-hmm.
A text message.
Registered voters got a text message with a link to a survey about the ballot question.
Are you a registered voter? Huh, that's interesting.
Good to know.
Good to know.
You got
We had a
it?
great response from that, so.
No, I didn't get it.
Okay.
I don't think, how long ago was that?
The 2 weeks ago?
Okay, I think I did it. It was a
Could
couple weeks ago.
Be in your unknown senders.
I got it and I filled it out. I can look at where it came
Yeah,
from.
it was,
But regardless, we had a really good response rate.
yeah, the
So
survey
strictly valid.
had very few responses because we had a QR code in the newsletter, but the text message really drove home a lot of respondents. And we are waiting for the final results, but they looked pretty positive so far.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about that in July.
What did what did this text message, what did it send people?
It said,
Survey link?
it looked like this. It is from 847.
Yeah, I mean, I 100%
Serve our parks and beach.
did not get
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there was a Survey Monkey survey.
So it's the logo of our,
It
referendum.
says June 4th
Yeah,
at 11:38 a.m.
I did use an independent company for that, so good to know.
Well, now I feel left out.
I think we have about 300 respondents. Lisa, is that right?
Okay.
even more now. Yeah, I think so.
In the survey? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah. So statistically valid. We'll go over more details about that in July when we get the results of that. Any other questions for Aaron? Okay, John, do you have anything else to add?
No, outside of, we've been onboarding some new employees. Our human resources manager and our customer and administrative support associate, Chrissy Dogallo and Grant Gilchrist, along with a new HR intern that's been working with us and been doing a phenomenal job. She just graduated from college. So some new faces in our department, and they've all been doing a great job thus far, and we're excited to see what they're going to accomplish here.
Thank you, John. I know that a big topic is our wait list, and one of our things that came out of our efficiency committee is to explain more of how we do our wait lists. So in the packet is the Children's Circle wait list procedure, and we're also working on how we can get that out to the parents. It's complex. It's not as easy as just putting a name on a list. It's very complex. So does anybody have any questions on that? And if you do, you can always call Bobby or Jess. They can explain it.
So are you planning to put that like on the website?
We're gonna figure out how to market it. So
Yeah, and potentially, I think the best thing we could probably do is make sure parents who do get on the wait list get a copy of it and understand it. And maybe it included in their packet of, so that they understand they're not just getting on a pull a ticket and the next person, if you're number 5 on the list, you get the 5th spot, because it is a lot more complicated than that. So we are looking at ways to make sure that message gets out to people.
In your packet, also Appendix 8 is our annual program enrollment report as required by our distinguished accreditation. So just for your review, you can see all the different programs that we offer throughout the year. I would also like to just give a little bit insight to some of our action items today. So when we go into those, we can just vote on those. So if I can turn your attention to action item number D, B and C are we have already talked about last month. So D is our environmental report card, and I'd like to throw it over to Erica. Do you want to come up and use the microphone? So Erica is the chair of our Green Committee, and she'll give you update on this scorecard.
Yeah, so I believe everyone was here for the presentation a little less than a year ago about the progress of the Green Team and gave a little bit of an update. A lot of those decisions are guided by IPRA's environmental report card, which is a required step for distinguished accreditation. So since it's been about a year since our last analysis, Kyle and myself and the rest of the Green Team have been focusing on ways to improve our overall score. So we've implemented some initiatives over the last year, which ended up getting our score up to a 79% on the report card, which is passing. You need 70% for acceptance and accreditation. So we're doing very well overall. Some of the recent things that have helped improve our score from the last assessment is the installation of the rain gardens, which we have discussed, some of the natural invasive species control, including the goats, actually got us some points. So doing goat grazing, prescribed burns, and weed reduction using selective grass blends, winter salt reduction tactics. So we have the new snow sweeper and eco-friendly ice melt. Brian actually and is on the Green Team, and he's been helping with introducing some Amazon purchase and packaging reduction goals to our managers. So ways to be more sustainable in our online shopping, and then setting benchmark goals, which we've actually have seen a reduction and more sustainable purchasing choices, which Aaron helped us get into the Friday update, and we have been providing education to staff on how to improve purchasing, because that's one of our lowest score categories. Nate has been utilizing solar power at some of his special events, and I believe he has a solar power concert coming up this Thursday, which is really exciting, as well as introducing compostable products at some of our special events, including our Party in the Park events. So that is helpful in the score. And then Aaron, Kyle, and myself also worked on developing educational interpretive signage for some of our natural areas, providing education to the public that passed by the bluff and our rain gardens. So that's just in the last year, some of our accomplishments. Areas of improvement still remain programming and purchasing. We have some goals set that we'll continue to work on, but public programming on nature and environmental topics continues to be an area where we don't score very high. So looking into offering or at least incorporating some of those themes into our events, as well as providing staff training and staff guidelines on sustainable management. We did include a sustainability slide in our seasonal staff training, which is a step in the right direction, but in continuing to include sustainability in the trainings and instructions that we give to staff. Upcoming initiatives, like I mentioned, mostly revolve around purchasing. So one of the big ones is going to be copy paper, some of the things we purchase on a regular basis, utilizing compostable products, offering composting, and continuing to publish environmental education materials through social media, our websites, and just, again, providing internal information for staff on making sustainable choices. But overall, We score fairly high or well in all the categories listed on the report card, and we do clearly make a conscious effort to incorporate sustainability into our projects, parks, and policies across the board. So we're pretty proud of our overall score. Questions?
Yeah, for children's circle meals, is that food composted? And they use paper products, right, for every meal. Are those compostable?
The food waste is not currently composted, but it is something that's being discussed at the Green Team. We have been in contact with Collective Resources, who is a composting company. We're actually meeting with their owner this summer at some point to come and do an assessment of our compost capabilities for the scale. But they do need to come out to site to kind of see how much waste we're producing and get an idea. But it is something that we're looking into. But yes, it would change like what we serve the food on and how we throw it away, how many receptacles we can have, and then where it would go.
Have you looked into coordinating with the village on it? Because there is a village free compost program and now it's residential as well. But I was talking to one of the members of their sustainability task force about composting. He seemed to imply that they work with some of the restaurants in Glencoe on composting, and I was just wondering if maybe
She
the
actually
village-
emailed me yesterday about meeting with us about our composting and recycling.
Okay.
If it's the same person, but I will be meeting with her at some point next
Okay.
week. She's going to come on site as well and see how we can work together.
Okay.
But nothing is set in stone there yet, but love to have her out and hear more about it.
You also have to look, especially with Children's Circle, the impact on how much labor it costs. Will the teachers have to do a lot of the work and how that impacts the classroom and work with them? So that's something the Green Team will also work with the Children's Circles team on that.
Because the latest compost program, the one in your home, you're allowed to compost compostable products. So I was thinking if you use a compostable plate,
Yep.
you don't have to sort. You just
Right.
throw everything.
So that's what to look at and the price and,
Okay.
what would.
And
impact.
Danielle from Children's Circle actually joined the Green Team just to help us kind of with this topic.
Okay.
So she's going to be an excellent resource. She's been kind of weighing the amount of food waste and then paying attention to the food waste from the classrooms to help us get a better idea of the scale that we would need. But that kind of just has been the last couple months that we've been discussing that. So probably a little bit more time to get that figured out.
Very good question, though.
Any other questions?
Yeah, in the write-up, it mentioned that anything above 70 was considered good. And so we're at 79. 79 sounds like a C+ in school, but it sounds like the 79 is actually a very, highly regarded score.
Yeah, the last time the report card was updated was in 2016. The range for very good is 70 to 90%. So it's a pretty wide range in my opinion, but
Okay, so we're
that's
okay,
the
but we're in the
room.
middle of that upper
Yeah,
range. Okay, that's great.
Exactly.
Yeah, very nice work.
Yeah, pretty good. All right, thank you.
All right, now I'd like to turn your attention to action item F, the approval of resolution to approve the OSLAD submittal for West Park. As you recall, we talked about this a couple of months ago, whether the board would like to pursue this should the OSLAD be open again. It is open again. So turn it over to Kyle to make any other.
Thank you, Lisa. So the OSLAD period is about to open in July. As the board recalls, we applied for OSLAD for West Park 2 times previously, most recently being in September of 2022. In order for us to formally apply for the grant, we do have to have a formal resolution of authorization approved by the board. Once that grant cycle opens in July, we would then start the process of pulling together our application information, pulling together new documents, and then ultimately submitting that application with the deadline expected to be sometime in late September. We don't intend to have any major large scale changes to the plan that has been previously discussed with the board. We'll likely add in some removal of invasive species to kind of make sure we're covering ourselves in some areas to get some additional points. But the OSLAD plan that's been previously vetted by the board and the community multiple times will largely be the same application that we'll be submitting this time around.
Any questions on that? Okay, good. Now I would turn your attention to action item G, the approval of the bid for the gas kiln.
Yes, so on the kiln bid, on May 29th, staff received bids for the kiln project construction, work and installation. The lowest responsible bidder was McDonough Mechanical Services at a bid price of $52,835. The kiln had been previously approved for purchase by the board from Bailey Kiln at a cost of $35,988. This brings the total construction cost to $88,823. Budget on this project was $80,000. While the construction cost does exceed the budget by $8,823, staff does recommend that we do move forward with this work and line it up for this August shutdown period. We do have a $25,000 contingency line in the Fund 69 budget that would help cover the costs of this budget overage.
Any questions?
This is the last time we're going to hear about the kids.
Yes. This will be the
That's why,
last.
yep,
Finally,
that's why we
but
want to get this.
This
moved
is
forward.
before pandemic. This is 4 years in the making.
Yes, and it's the kiln delivery delay is what drove this continual
Yeah.
backing up of the project, so.
COVID's still wreaking havoc. Next one is action item H, approval of the construction bid and purchase of equipment for the takeoff ELC Century Room. Kyle?
All right, so also on May 29th, we received bids for the construction portion of the sensory room renovations. The lowest responsible bidder was Wendell Builders. We had 5 bidders on that one as well. The Wendell Builders bid price was $164,380.32. We also received a quote from Flag House for the sensory room items or devices. That quote was in the amount of $39,664.32. That pricing does include a 14% discount that we're able to capture along with free shipping due to our membership in the Omnia Partners Cooperative Purchasing Alliance. This brings the total construction cost on this project to $164,380.32. Budget for the construction work on this project was $170,000. We're recommending acceptance of the bid and the proposal from Flag House so we can line this work up for August and into September after camp ends in that space.
Any questions on that? Great. Next one, the last one, I'd like to, and that would be the new memo and proposal I put in front of you at the start of the meeting. So it's right in, that looks like this. Right here is for the Weinberg tennis court renovation bid for, is it Central and Weinberg?
Roland Watts.
And Watts,
Yeah.
Watts. Changed name on the wrong one.
Yeah. Right.
Go ahead, Kyle.
So as the board recalls, we did bid this project in early May. However, at the time, we only received one bid. That bid was in the amount of $1,175,000. The board subsequently rejected that bid, given both the lack of competitive bids received, as well as that bid amount being so far out of line with the budgeted amounts. We did go ahead and rebid this project. Bid opening was on June 6th. This time around, we received a total of 5 bids, with the lowest responsible bidder being Superior Paving. That bid was in the amount of $883,500. So while this rebid did produce more competitive bids to compare each other against, and it did bring the lowest bid amount down by nearly $300,000, the cost was still significantly above the budgeted amount of $680,000. At that point, we've entered into discussions with the engineer and the lowest responsible bidder about ways to value engineer this project and still produce a high quality, long lasting product. It was determined that removal of new under drains and new sewer connections were the best items to focus on in order to bring this project budget into a more acceptable level. These items, the under drains and sewer connections, are not and were not currently in place at either site. And so with the removal of these items from the project scope, we are really given 2 options for consideration. And the cost difference between the two options is really related to the circumstances at Central. So to use Watts as an example, the way Watts tennis court is constructed is the top layer that you play tennis on is asphalt. Directly below that asphalt is stone. At Central, it's asphalt, stone, asphalt. And so the two options really revolve around how we address that lower layer of asphalt to allow prevent water from being trapped in between those two asphalt layers and causing cracking and popping. Option one is the full removal of that bottom layer of asphalt, replacing with all gravel stone. That will allow any water that gets under the top layer of asphalt to drain through unobstructed stone down into the subsurface. Option two would involve leaving that second layer of asphalt in place and coring holes every 7 feet across the entirety of that asphalt, putting stone back in, and then the top layer of asphalt. This will give a path for the water to escape, but it won't be a clear and unobstructed path like option one. These were the two options that were considered the best to give us a really high quality end product. We don't want to sacrifice the quality of the end result, and wanted to kind of discuss any questions the board might have related to either option.
So this is where you earn your paycheck. You get to decide between option 1 and 2. So if you have any questions for Kyle, and then we would just need your feedback on that.
Yeah, I have a question. So in terms of longevity, of the court after doing this, if we were to go with option 1, it sounds like that would be less potential for cracking. So would that potentially last longer? Like, is there a better ROI, or I don't know if that's the right way
Yeah,
to
I
look
think
at it on 1 than 2?
Yeah, so with the full removal and replacement, like option one is, we would typically expect to get 20 years before needing to do another full replacement. You might have to do a resurface and crack filling and color coding, but to the point of needing to do another large scale removal, we would expect to get 20 years. I think option one provides us the most guarantee that we get to that point, just given that you'll have water will be able to freely drain out down into the subsurface versus having just specific holes to drain through. It's not to say that option two won't also produce that, but in my opinion, that delta between the option one and option two is a worthwhile investment to guarantee that we have the best possible drainage in place.
Good question.
But to Carol's point, like option 2, it's less likely you get to 20 years. I mean, is it, and it's hard to tell, but is it 15 years? Is it, I mean.
Yeah, I hate to throw a number
Right,
out that I can't
right.
truly stand behind, but I would say option one gives us the most likelihood of the longest possible time that those courts will go without needing major renovation. So it's a little hard to say what option two would be versus option one. But option one is going to give that longest or the best potential for that long life.
And so with option 1, with the full removal,
Mhm.
I mean, there's some, I have no tennis court experience, but it would seem like if you've got an existing lower layer in place, if you can get water going through it, that would be particularly fairly stable. The question is there any potential for settling, since you're removing 3 layers to like rebuild it with option 1?
Option one, well, so we would have the stone that gets put back in place gets compacted with
Okay.
a roller, and then you have a roll test done on the court to make sure that you have quality compacted stone before you put your asphalt on top. So there's engineering that is involved with making sure that that stone base is solid and you don't have that settling that you're referring to.
And Superior Paving does tennis courts, but I guess also roads, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, what was I gonna ask? I'm sorry, I had a great question and
That's
then
okay.
where is this extra $80,000 coming from? If we do option 1?
So John can jump in. I think, so with the Fund 69, there are potential savings in a couple other projects within Fund 69, and we did earlier mention that contingency budget. But I would say anything above that would affect the transfer, and John can speak to
Yeah.
that.
To Kyle's point, we would absorb as much as we can out of the budgeted contingency line item. And then there is residual fund balance available to fund the any excess over what we've budgeted for the project.
Is there another project this year that we think has strong potential to go over budget?
To go over budget. I think at this point, with everything having been bid out, major projects, we aren't going to see any other projects going way over budget. We will see some, the contingency budget and potentially would see some savings on the architect engineering fees that may not reach that $200,000 budget item that we had.
What else are our major, is we have the trucks, right? What else did we approve this
Yeah,
year?
so there's Fund 65 and Fund 69. Fund 65, several of the projects came back in well under budget.
Okay,
In Fund 69, we had the tennis courts, the ball fields, the kiln, and then architect engineer services. So
okay.
not a giant list of projects.
So most of this we already know what
Already
the
been-
costs
yeah,
are
yeah.
for the year.
Good question.
Jordan, Bart, any other
You
questions?
kind of, I was gonna ask where's this extra money coming from, but you,
Sorry,
no,
I mean to
It's-
hog the mic.
no, I mean, had to be asked. And you recommend, been one, and you agree that we can fiscally do it and it makes sense.
Yes.
Because I trust your guys' opinion and your assessment of our fiscal situation, obviously. Yeah, I mean, if you guys recommend it, that's my other curiosity, so.
Or do you have, do we?
I just had one-
We'll do it as the action item, but.
Yeah, I had one thought. At first I thought, well, it'd be interesting to compare it to the cost of the lakefront courts, but I guess that's so completely
it's
different,
different.
building
It's number
those on top of the
rated.
water tank and.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, it's, okay, so that doesn't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my, I associate everything the Park District does with high quality and longevity and durability. So I would naturally lean, particularly for the 50,000 or so difference, lean for something that would predictably last longer and maintain the high quality longer and then not have to go through the whole process again. Yeah, I'm comfortable with the option one.
Okay, so I think when we get to that agenda item, we'll discuss option.
Okay.
Okay, no, that's the remainder of the action items, Lisa, before we go through and take action on these. Do you have anything more?
I have nothing else in my report. No.
Okay, guys, we're gonna work our way through this agenda. I'll have some water here.
Drink some water.
I'm curious on one thing.
You just throw things
I
in.
just, now I'm getting angry. This was not in our.
It was, the memo was just updated with it. He got a little bit lower price by 2,000.
down,
The
yeah.
proposal was not. We just got that back
Okay,
yesterday.
that's because, okay.
Yeah, but everything else, but not the proposal.
I
that
was
was
just
new.
curious if Stephanie or Michael had anything that.
They didn't call in anything in the packet,
Okay.
including, that one.
Good way to be considerate and
Yeah.
think about them. Okay. I entertain a motion to accept the 2024 audit report as presented.
So moved.
Second,
I believe we already had the discussion, so hearing no further comments, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schneider,
yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes. I entertain a motion to approve the updates made to conduct ordinance 700 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes. I entertain a motion to approve the recreation facilities manual as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes. Entertain a motion to accept the IPRA environmental report card score as presented.
So moved.
Second.
I guess I have one question. What, do we have to adopt that or
We just
accept it?
accept it.
We just accept it?
Yep.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes. I entertain a motion for approval of resolution numbers 964, a resolution for the authorization for the OSLED submittal for West Park as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes. I entertain a motion to accept the bid for the gas kiln as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes. I entertain a motion to accept Wendell Builders base bid in the amount of $124,716 for the sensory room construction project and the purchase of the sensory room equipment from Flag House through the OMNIA Partners Cooperative Purchasing Alliance in the amount of $39,664.32.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes, I recommend, I entertain a motion to accept Superior Paving's revised pricing option number 1 for tennis court renovations at Berlin Central Park and Watts in the amount of $758,900.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes, all these motions pass. Okay. Is there any other business, Lisa?
Yes, I just wanted to just go over a little bit of what we're going to do at the July 2nd and July board meeting, just to make sure all board members are in attendance because it'll be a really important meeting. So at the committee meeting, we plan to discuss the referendum to include feedback from the community meeting and surveys that we have. So from our consultant, finalize how the board would like to proceed and if they would like to include the elements that were proposed or any or change out based on the community feedback. Discuss the ballot language and possibly creation of a task force to discuss future informational mailers and ads as such. And then in addition, we will also be talking about our comp plan goals. So we have a, based on all the meetings we've had in that I guess working workshop with play, we have a list of goals. We want to talk to the board about them before they get finalized. So that's a July committee meeting. And then there's a July board meeting. We're looking to pass a resolution for the referendum. Jamie Swak will present the comp plan in its entirety. And I would like to know if you would like her to come in person or would virtual be fine?
Is virtual cheaper for us?
Yes.
That's. Guys, let's do that.
Okay. Yay. Okay, so I just wanted to give you that update. So we have time, we've got a lot of feedback in our community groups, at our meetings, phone calls, emails. I know you're getting emails and stuff and we get a lot more. So we just want to make sure that we fully discuss the whole community's opinion on that. So
The virtual is for part of the presentation or is for?
for the comp plan.
Okay, but we're here.
We're here. Yes,
Okay.
only Jamie. Jamie will come back.
Okay, that sounds
She'll be
fine.
projected on the big screen. I love it. If it turns out that she's working with a couple Illinois agencies, if she's out here anyways, then she'll come in person, but if she's not, if she has to fly in special for this, then she'll do it virtual.
I used to Zoom.
All right,
I will for that meeting be a little late,
okay,
but I will.
but you'll be here.
I will.
Okay.
be-
Believe everybody indicated they could be here, so I was very happy about that. Okay,
I have a question before we close.
yes, absolutely.
For the parade,
Yeah.
this is my favorite topic because we talk about this in my house. Do you want the board to be
Yes.
on the float or like what's the float?
I don't know what the float is. Do you know what the float is?
There's a couple of ideas floating around. One includes a
Floating around.
tent on the on the floating around. There's a tent as one of the ideas,
Cute.
which is pretty cute, actually. It was a really good idea.
Little
Aaron's
bonfire
idea.
going on? Little fire?
Yeah, actually, fake fire.
Big fire.
Right.
And then the other one was the traditional one with the park bench, but I think that the tent would probably be a
Out.
hit.
So we'd have the float decorated, and we do want the board members to come, either walking, or we could facilitate you in the float if you'd like, in a chair, sitting around the tent and the fire.
What time
So-
is this?
The parade starts at 1, you'd have to line up at like 12:30,
Depending on work. This is on the 3rd?
the 4th. This is
Oh,
July
on the
4th.
4th. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, this one's the 4th, the parade's on the 4th,
It would just be a dream come true for my kids.
to be on the parade float. Yeah,
They want to be on the float?
You know how much they love that. They
Okay.
would feel so
we can make
special.
that happen.
Loud and clear.
Got
It's just, it's about them. It's not about me.
Stephanie's kids were on the float before too. so-
Yeah, I feel like it's just.
Yeah, That'd be great.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Anybody else have any other questions? If not-
What time's the parade?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
We'd line up at like 12:30, so you'd have to
Yeah,
meet
yeah.
by Central School. I think they usually line up. So, I'll send a appointment reminder to see, and if anybody wants to do, they can just tell me.
Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Lisa, please record the time.
8:20. I think I won.